After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah.
Peace and love. Welcome to the N.E.P.P.C podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Haq Islam.
Welcome to our platform where we focus exclusively on political prisoners. We take the ideas of political prisoners and relate them to what's going on currently. Today's episode, we focus on the Virgin Island 3. That's Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin. We want you to really think about those names. We provided you with a website to go to. If you just tune in now and you missed it in the introduction, that's www.vi3.org. And so shortly we're going to bring it up again. But anyway, these is the brother stories, and we can't forget them. So there was a shooting that occurred in St. Croix in 1972. It was Fountain Valley Golf Course, and it was where tourists would come, right, to part of their vacation. So you have 4 tourists that was killed, and you have 4 workers that was killed. This was during the time of the Virgin Island Independence Movement. Our brothers Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin were part of the Virgin Island Independence Movement. So there was a struggle for independence against colonial rule. So when this shooting happens and it threatens their tourist industry, which is responsible for economic growth in that particular area, now the colonial powers responds, and they respond by gathering a number of Black people, and they tortured them, and they tortured them into making confessions. Those who were in prison for some time have been released. The only 3 remaining in prison and been in prison for over 50 years is Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin. So we got to struggle to bring these brothers home. We got to tell their stories. They can't be forgotten. They can't die in prison. And that involves us. That involves us organizing. That involves us utilizing our talents. That involves us writing to them, making sure that we do our part to supporting them on any level. So the website is going to be up again, dealing with them and getting you informed about them. So, brother Abdul Haq Islam, based on your research about the Virgin Island 3, what did you find, and how would you discuss that today?
Well, I would say that masses of dark-skinned people need to be very, very much against colonialism. We look around the world, we see the victims of colonialism were mainly non-white people. Hundreds of millions of non-white people murdered as the colonizer moved to steal land and steal resources, to enslave people, to take over. And our people must be very much against, this type of endeavor. In fact, there's a big move by the enemy right now to wash this phenomenon from our consciousness so they can continue with this practice. The Virgin Islands was one of many areas, where the colonizer was at work to steal resources, to do violence, to terrorize people, to torture them, through false propaganda to try to get people here in America and around the world to be on the side of genocide, to side with those, who are on our side, or to side with those who love genocide, homicide, you understand, which ain't nothing but suicide on our parts, So the history of the Virgin Island 3 must be well known, must be shared among our people, to create the type of consciousness in Black people necessary, because the enemy would like to turn all of us into tool of the man. The tool of the man, what that stand for? T, tool of the man, T-O-M, you understand? As opposed to the freedom fighter, those who love justice, those who love liberation, those who stand up for liberation, and the Virgin Islands 3 are golden examples, of this type of endeavor, of this type of consciousness, of this being, you understand? And they must be supported. We must demand their freedom. They said all three of them share a couple of things in common, that during their incarceration, they have worked to guide youth.
Never stopped organizing.
Never stopped organizing, to guide youth, as part of the leadership of organizations, to guide youth away from crime, youth away from violence against one another. And, we are particularly kin to that in the December 12th movement, in that we have the N.E.P.P.C, and we have the STK, the Stop the Killing campaign. You understand? Where we go throughout New York City with the message of stopping the killing. And we must...
In particular, Bed-Stuy, because that's our area of focus.
Right. And, we must inform our masses that the statistics show that violence against Black people has gone down. The enemy wants to attribute to the cops. The cops been doing the same thing they've been doing now for centuries, for decades and decades and decades. But now they want to claim, now the enemy propaganda wants to give the police the credit for the success that Black people have had in deciding through self-love that we're going to stop killing one another, And like I said at the beginning, the Virgin Island 3, are golden examples of resistance. Those who don't go along, who don't have a red, white, and blue brain, you understand? That hear and obey, like little puppy dogs,
like zombies.
Like zombies. You get
like Fela Kuti said.
Right. You give a little puppy dog a little pebble, a little piece of meat, he'll do anything you want, anything you tell him to do. But we say, no, stand up, be human, to fight for human rights. And this is what the Virgin Islands 3 is. So I want to read some information about them. I'm going to read it so that I don't leave.
So while you get yourself together to read that, I just want to give our viewers the understanding of what was going on during that climate. So you have the 70s, you have the emergence of the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party is being attacked by COINTELPRO. In the 1950s, you have the first television stations and radio stations that are brought to to the Virgin Islands. So now you got information is being brought to our brothers and sisters in this particular area about what's going on. So, they feel inspired to fight back, to organize. They understand that the situation is not an isolated incident, that it's a part of a systemic issue. And they must have some type of unity and solidarity, meaning that they have to practice, put out some ideas that need to be addressed, right? Because wanting change and wanting independence does not come without fight, without resistance. So that's what I wanted to say, my brother.
Right on. And I want to say that in terms of what these brothers were standing up against, the type of enemy they were standing up against, right now in the world today, this enemy who is saying that brothers and sisters like these should never be free. These are people who knowingly, intentionally fund Israel that murdered, sets babies on fire, that murders women and children. Most of the deaths in Palestine and Gaza are of women and children. And America knows this, yet it sends billions and billions of dollars and the same amount in weapons, to Israel, knowing that it's killing babies, So these are the type this is the system that don't want these brothers free.
Absolutely. So it's the same formula in different places. And what's the response, right? They are conscious ones who understand what's going on in society. That we got to organize. We got to put up a resistance because our babies are under attack, and we have to be their heroes. We have to be their security force.
Yeah,
brother, you was about to read.
Yeah. So if we deal with an enemy who will set babies on fire and know it, you understand? So we got to understand that we are in a hellish situation. Okay, I'm going to read some information on these three brothers, on their health and what they've been involved in. Abdulaziz, advanced heart disease, severe arthritis, degenerative disc disease, injured spinal cord, heart. He's involved in outreach to youth, to the healing and the youth healing center. That's the work he's been involved with, to try to help youth while he was down. Hanif Shabazz Bay, part of Awakening Mentoring Group, help troubled youth, avoid violence, health, hepatitis 3, liver damage. All right. Malik El Amin, health, resistance, prostate, cancer, and help youth by awakening the military, prisoner advisory. Let me see.
So the brothers is involved in where they at. They're organizing. They're making sure that prisoners understand that they have a right, that they don't have to stand for mistreatment. And I think that says a lot about Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin. They're involved in fighting back. They're putting up resistance while they're in prison. So we have to put up a fight for them. They're not terrorists. They're not criminals. They're freedom fighters. They're captured freedom fighters. And we have to deal with that accordingly, right? That means that they need to be spoken about when we're talking about our right to self-determination, when we're talking about our right to reparations, when we're talking about the violence that's going on in our community. These are all forms of our oppression, and our political prisoners are on that, right? Our political prisoners are being taken from us, right? If these brothers are able to organize in the inside and have success, imagine what they could do on the outside, right? We need all hands on deck to deal with our problems, to deal with our oppression. We got to be very serious about that. And we have to take a position that our political prisoners are not going to die in prison. So, I have to take up the assignment of writing to our political prisoners. You have to take up the assignment of writing to our political prisoners. And we got to come back with feedback, a response from our political prisoners. So, that's my assignment. Write to Abdul Aziz, write to Hanif Bey, write to Malik El Amin. I'm currently waiting for Ronald Reed to write me back. I want to know what he thinks about my letter. I want his input and regarding the work that is necessary, regarding the work of the Northeast Political Prison Coalition and our associates. You know, we were in Bedford Hills Correctional Facility with Holla, right? Holla led the charge. We participated. We were involved in that work. We made sure that it was broadcasted on Black Power Media. So we have to respect our platforms. We have to continue to support independent media because we got to support our own media. We got to control our own narrative, and Black Power Media gives us that opportunity. So please hit like, please share with your contacts. If you happen to be in St. Croix, you know, and there's celebration on Virgin Island Independence movement, Independence Day, right? What you know, you have the responsibility to talk about Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin. You should have their pictures on the march, any form of celebration. The Virgin Island 3 need to be spoke of because the struggle for independence comes with casualties, right? You have martyrs, you have political prisoners, and they should be given that respect to be spoken about. If you're a teacher in the Virgin Islands, in St. Croix, you know, political prisoners need to be on that curriculum. You need to talk about Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin. They need to be resignated in the classroom. Children need to ask about them. You should have a project where you write to these brothers and let these brothers know that you're discussing about them and their sacrifices. Just think about the amount of torture that had to happen for somebody to say that they did something that they know they didn't, just for it to stop. Just imagine that for a minute. So we have to look at this situation and be very moved to want these brothers to come home so that they can be dealt with their families, because there's nothing more powerful than love. You have your loved ones taking care of you, bringing you back to the health as close as possible that you once had. So we have work to do. We have to do the work because the work is our responsibilities, right? You know, we don't control the conditions that we currently live in, but we control how we respond to it. And that response must be in an organized manner. We must be focused. We must make sure that we use all the resources. So if you are part of a group of faith, right? People who share that same faith, and you happen to be in St. Croix or any one of those Virgin Islands, you know, you have a responsibility to mention the Virgin Island 3, right? Because they were there to protect you and fight for you. And it's now time for you to protect their name, to make sure that their name is safe and their name is not demonized, that they're not labeled as a terrorist. You say, oh, for those who are claiming them to be terrorists, you say, no, those are our freedom fighters. And, you know, talking about them in that manner is not acceptable. So, Brother Abdul Haq Islam, you know, what's the responsibility for those who are living in St. Croix right now, living in the Virgin Islands as it relates to the Virgin Island 3?
Well, to stand up and resist the machinations of the great purveyors of violence in the world, as King described, you know, to stand up, you know, it's in their interest, you know, to benefit from the what their land offers to humanity. Very, very rich capitalists are swelling, you know, from the riches that come through tourism, you know, and you know, and that's what, and that is something that the people themselves need to benefit, just like in nations around the world, the people are deprived of their gold, their diamonds, their magnesium, copper, you know, potatoes, you know, and whatever, tobacco, you know, the wealth that comes from these things, you know, the people, you know, should benefit from them. It should serve them as opposed to serving some super rich bloodsuckers, you know, some people who, you know, who murder babies and know they murder babies, you understand? So us living in a system that that does this, that sets babies on fire, you know, that sends money to buy bombs, you know, and napalm and planes, you understand, to steal land, you understand. It is right for us to stand up against this and don't bow down like a coward.
You have a responsibility to stand up to this,
right?
Stand up. What does that say about you if you're not standing up? It says that you are in compliance with those who are doing what's being done. You accept that, and you don't mind that being done to the next generation that's going to come and have to deal with that madness. You know, so the Virgin Island 3 must be brought home, and we have to organize more because they're not home yet. That means that we haven't done as much as we can, and that's why it's serious that we continue to talk about them, continue to keep them in our discussions, so that we can put it out there that they need to be with their loved ones, right? How long is the process of correcting someone is going to take? It's supposed to be a correctional facility. How long does that process take? And we have to ask ourselves that these are not just sentences; these are revenge sentences. I dare you stand up to me, your oppressor, and take back what I've taken from you. I dare you have the audacity to do that and inspire others to do that.
To be great.
Exactly.
Dare to be great.
And the only way we can dare to be the only way we can dare to be great is actually put it in practice. That's to be out there doing the work. Because anybody could say, I want to be great, but how is it being expressed materially, right? What are you a part of? You have to be a part of an organization, a group of people that are committed to the idea to advance a people. And I think that when we talk about that Virgin Island independence movement, and we talk about our brothers Abdul Aziz, Hanif Bey, Malik El Amin, we're talking about the embodiment of serious political work. And that's exactly what they were about. That's exactly what they continue to be about, regardless of their health conditions. They know they still have work to do. And I think that says a lot about them. They are people worth mentioning over and over again. They are people worth bringing up in discussions wherever you're at. Because when you're talking about resistance and you're talking about matters of spiritual affairs, you're talking about a resistance, right? You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused. You have to endure. And you're talking about political affairs currently. You have to continue to do that. Continue to identify people having a right to their lands. People been in that particular area for generations, and they've been denied certain things that they should not been denied because of another person's or another group of people's greed. And the Virgin Island 3 represented resistance. They represent that today is a new day, and today is a day that I won't tolerate the mistreatment of my people. And I'm going to be a part of this organized resistance, regardless of what's going to happen to me. I know to be brave comes with a price. To be a coward comes with a price, and they chose to be brave. And because of their bravery, they're incarcerated right now. They've been incarcerated for over 50 years. It's time to bring them home. So we have to do that. We have to organize more. We have to share information with others. So if you're tuning in right now on this big platform, Black Power Media platform, please please share. Share with at least 10 people. Encourage those 10 people to share. So, brother, you during this time of in the 1970s, did you hear about the Virgin Island 3?
No, I was a criminal back then.
Okay, I understood. So you was part of the problem. I understand. Yeah. Everybody has to go.
I became conscious later on, but back in them days, I was the enemy of the people.
Absolutely. But
and not proud of it.
Absolutely, man. But your transparency is very powerful and it's important, and we appreciate you being where you're at now, because somebody might share the same story and might be stuck, right? Because that criminal behavior is a disease. You got to find a way to rid yourself of this disease, this cancer. If not, other people.
It's a colonized mind.
Exactly.
You want to be like the enemy.
Exactly. And
you want to be like somebody that hates your guts.
And that's very important that we look back at somebody like you and to see where your life is, and to see that you're here talking about political prisoners, talking about those who have an advanced their consciousness to the point where they are being persecuted for that. So we encourage those who are viewing now to write to a political prisoner. go to the website, www.vi3.org. That's the Virgin Island 3. Learn more about their story. There's a very important, powerful poem that's there. It's actually several poems. If you download it, it's going to come out to 29 pages. The whole poem ain't no one page. I mean, ain't no 29 pages.
What's his name?
There are a number of, that's Malik El Amin.
Malik El Amin is
yes,
the poet, right?
That's the poet, and he has some very strong poems about our people, and it is to inspire us, to let us know that his passion to moving his people forward has not dimmed. It's probably even strong and brighter because now he has to control the narrative, right? If life expectancy is but so many years and you've been incarcerated for so many years, you want to feel like you're making a contribution to your people. You don't want to those years or that time to pass by and you make their transition and you was a liability to your people. So these brothers continue to be an asset to us. They continue to write. They continue to well, he wrote a poem. The others, I'm not quite sure if what they're writing is, but when you think about what they're actually doing in the prison and in terms of organizing and letting people know that you don't have to be beaten down by this system, that you can stand up for yourselves, you can make sure that your rights are being protected. I think that itself says a lot, right? Everybody can do something. It's doing something is most important. So we have to understand our role in freeing our political prisoners. We got to play our role and know our role in freeing the Virgin Island 3. That can be done. There are political prisoners who are home now. Sundiata Kohli, he's home because people organized to make that happen. So is Veronza Bowers. He's home because people organized for that to happen. And speaking on Veronza Bowers, those of you who are part of a group that deals with mental health and you have a budget, call that brother up, compensate him for his expertise. He does remarkable work with his Japanese flute. It really relaxes you, and he have a number of techniques that he can bring to you. You can utilize, but make sure he's compensated because we got to support our political prisoners now that they're home. Some of them, the ones that are home, we got to do our part to support them. So if you are interested in doing some work to free U.S. held political prisoners, contact me. I represent the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. I represent a number of people who are part of this organization. You can contact me at 347-679-3936. Again, that's 347-679-3936. Let me know about what you're willing to do. If you're a part of a church or a masjid, I would love to speak to them for 3 to 5 minutes about the work that we're doing, about the Virgin Island 3 and other political prisoners like Joy Powell, Kamal Siddiqui, Mumia Abu Jamal, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, Leonard Peltier. We can't let them die in prison. So, brother, we got about 1 minute left. What's your closing remarks, brother, before we shut this episode down?
Yeah, well, let me talk fast here. When I went to prison, before I became politicized, like I said, I was an enemy of the state. I was a thief. Anything that's against the law, I did it. And so in order to try to fool the people, trick the people better, I said I'm gonna study, this stuff about human rights and dignity and justice and all this stuff. I started studying this stuff. And said, whoa, this stuff is cool. So I went through a transformation, and around the same time I became Muslim, and the hitchhike on what brother said, brother Frank said, dare to be great, and don't dare be a disgrace, So I'm a poet, don't even know it, You dig? So this lifestyle, being like the enemy, robbing, stealing, being dishonest, being untrustworthy, all this type of stuff. This is deplorable. A righteous life, standing up for justice. This is what our freedom fighters is about. And on a global stage, when you understand the evil of a satanic system, that goes around the world and has done genocide, murdered hundreds of millions of people, mostly dark-skinned people. We cannot stand with this and go somewhere and You know, I wouldn't go somewhere and fight for that stuff, you know, to pretend that it ain't happening, because this is a reality in the world. And so, you know, we got to, we can't hide from it. You know, we can't pretend that it don't exist. We can't, you know, lay on, you know, go into the earth like a little worm, a little slug, you know, and ain't got an ounce of sense. You know, we got to fight for justice, fight for human rights, you know, and our political prisoners, you know, such as the Virgin Islands 3, got to understand the value and the beauty in their humanity. You know, they're in there, and while they're in there, they were fighting for the youth, you know, and they need to be outside, you know, to join us in that fight to save our youth. Black power.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.